99.99999% of the challenges in any organization is cultural. It has to do with the culture of the place. And when people are like, oh, we're lacking culture. No, you're not. You're in line with the culture, but you weren't intentional on it.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. I think not everybody knows me, but first let me introduce my co-host. You all know him, Jason Martin, father, husband, best-selling author and founder, and realtor. He's a moderator here in LabCoatAgents. And just to give you a little background, I'm not sure if everybody knows it, Jason, but you used to be an sports anchor, right?
That's what many years ago I did. Thank you for asking.
That's what made you a great host. So
yeah, it's just fun. I have a good time, and we don't get to see you enough, Sandra. So for those of you guys that don't know Sandra, I think some of you guys do. Most of you probably do. She's the director of member services and the LCA community manager, and somebody that is pretty cool to work with. So it's nice to kind of be involved on an interview with you. And we got a fun guest today too, right?
We have a fun guest today, and yes, I don't do this. I don't do this much, but because this is our anniversary special, yes, LCA's turned 7 years. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but October 2nd is when LCA is actually born. October 2nd, 2014. So it's 7th year now, and this special guest of ours is a special featured webinar because he's really an awesome guy. And before that, we prepared a little introduction here. So let me share that with everyone as I upload it. Okay. Tell me if you're seeing my screen now. Seeing it, right?
Not yet on my end, just so you know.
Oh.
Sounds like it's coming in. Here we go.
There you go.
Was being eager for business. This brought me back to my roots. When I first started in the industry, starting this podcast where attitude is everything and if you stay grateful in your life, then everything else will fall into line. The reason why I say that is because you bring your own personality into every single thing that you do, Jason. Like, you will become tired if you're working hard at doing something that is not what your purpose to do or what you truly don't desire. But when you desire it, it will come naturally and you'll be eager for that business.
Yay! Yeah, we can clap our hands.
Nice.
Welcome, Kelly Cardenas.
Right.
Kelly Cardenas, welcome to LabCoatAgents. So good to
Thank
have
you.
you here.
Dude, you got to be special to get your own intro like that. I do this about once every 2 weeks, pro bono, by the way, and I don't have an intro. What the heck's going on? You're pretty cool. I'm excited to talk to you, Kelly. I'm very, very excited to talk to you. I got to know you a little bit just before this, and you guys know how when somebody radiates an energy and you kind of just are drawn to them.
Yeah.
Kelly totally has that energy, and like you can be his best friend in about 30 seconds. He's so such a likable guy, and he's a cool dude too, man. I need to up my cool game just like you, brother. The hair's rocking, the beard, like just having fun. What the hell do you got going on? Things are good in your world, aren't they, Kelly?
Well, my mom taught me very early on that if you fall in love with your circumstances, then magic will happen. And it wasn't about the things that happened in my life because we went through a lot of craziness, right? But it was just about the way that we viewed it. And I always wanted to view it like it was my game. I made up the rules. And if I made up the rules, I always win. And so no matter what happens, the world shut down, with all of us on March 16th. And I lost all my business in one day. Like we had $3.85 million worth of business. And one day they called me and they're like, you remember that business you guys had? It's all gone one day. But the smile is there because there was a day when I didn't have $3.85 million in business. So I had to have a business to lose it. And you stay grateful for exactly where you are. And then magic happens.
Oh man, what was that business? Just to clarify for everybody.
We've been in the professional beauty industry for years. I've been in it for like 29 years. And like I was telling you earlier, I found that, people always ask me, are you passionate about what? And I said, I'm honestly, I'm just passionate about people. And I found that there was never a piece of hair that wasn't connected to a head, that wasn't connected to a body, that wasn't connected to a soul. And if I could touch the soul, I could do anything. And when I lost the ability to touch people physically, I realized that it wasn't that wasn't the magic. The magic was touching the soul. And that's what really launched us into a completely different stratosphere.
And that kicked off this passion of speaking, of the podcast, of writing, all of the things that you're excited and passionate about today.
Well, it actually, I mean, it was there. I've been speaking professionally all over the world to different industries for 29 years. Okay. And so, but it accelerated things, and, it was great. I mean, we did meetings every Tuesday with our company for the last 15 years, and we did it over Zoom because we had them all over the country. And we met every week, and every person in our company, up to 85 people, would have to say who they were inspired by in a 15-second, a 15-second hit. And they had to say a name and they had to say something specific. And when the pandemic hit, it was great because we were already doing all the things that everyone was like, how do I do Zoom? Do I have the right angle? Do I have the right lights? We had been practicing this for 15 years. So when this thing hit, we were already prepared. And I feel that, success is nothing more than preparation and opportunity meeting. And when the opportunity is there, if you're prepared, you get to make up your own rules.
That's pretty cool. What's it like to, and we talk about on the show, I often ask people about what their passion is and what it's like to pursue that, but forget the pursuit of it for a second. When you're living in the moment where you're actually passionate about what you're doing, there's no more pursuit. It's just passion coming through, isn't it?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is when you pursue something, it runs away. And this is what I heard so early on in my life was like, you need to chase your dreams. You need to chase this. And I was like, when I chase my dog, it runs away. But when I sit, when I sit back, I calm down and maybe I have a treat, my dog comes to me. And I find that if we will, as human beings, whether, you're in the real estate part, you're in whatever industry you're in, if you slow down, if you slow the game down, what starts to happen is it starts to come to you. Because nobody wants to be chased. People want to desire something. And what I found was literally I went from accomplishment to acceptance, as opposed to trying to accomplish, all these things in my life to feel like I was great. I started to say, my dad always told me this, and my mom always told me this, simply accept your greatness. And when that happens, that's where the magic is.
So Sandra, you just jump right in because I got a million questions and I'll just keep going. So you jump right in whenever you feel like you have a question, please do.
Yeah. Actually, the question is that because we're going to talk about 3 foundational truths here. So is that like what first foundational truth, like accept your greatness and like not keep chasing everything around?
Well, I think the first foundational truth is you're awesome. This was 3 things that my parents told me from a very, 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 very early age. And my mom had the best nails in the world. She didn't have little acrylics on it, whatever. They were natural nails. And she would scratch my back and wake me up every single morning. And from the time I can remember, my mom would wake me up and she would say, "You're awesome, son. Everything you do is awesome." And when I'd come home and I'd have a bad grade on a test, which was a lot, she would be like, "You're still awesome. It's still awesome that you even tried." And she would always tell me. And I remember one time we were opening a salon at the Hard Rock Casino. And John Paul was coming, John Paul DeJoria, who owns Paul Mitchell and sold Patron for $5.4 billion. And he's a friend of mine. He's been a friend for 20 years, but I'm still enamored by this guy. And I tell my mom while she's sitting in the chair, I was like, "Oh my gosh, John Paul is here. He's here in the building. Can you believe it? He sold Patron for $5.4 billion, 1.3 more than George Lucas sold Star Wars." And I was just waiting for my mom to react. And she very calmly turned, looked up at me and she said, "Son, does he know what you do?" And I laughed, But that's how my mom was. She was like, I don't care about what other people have done. Son, you're awesome. And whatever you do, you're awesome. And that was the first thing that was the foundation. And most of the time, people don't know that. They think that they're going to accomplish awesome. They think that they're going to accomplish something. And my mom was saying, just accept it, son. You don't have to do anything. Just be you. And the second principle was that you're beautiful. Like, and this was a hard thing to hear as a fourth grader, right? You're beautiful. I want to hear I'm handsome. But she told me, you are beautiful, son, exactly who you are, and never compare yourself to anybody else. And so as I went along, you got to understand, Sandra, I have a brother who, one of the top attorneys in Las Vegas, graduated magna cum laude from law school. I've got another brother who's a doctor. But she always said, never compare yourself to your brothers. You are you, and you're beautiful just being you. And then she followed it up with the third principle. And it was very simple. You can do anything that you put your mind to, but just because you can do it, son, doesn't make it your purpose and doesn't make it right. And so be in line with your purpose, your unique purpose. You're awesome, you're beautiful, and you can do anything. And I find that that's a foundation, seriously, for every single thing in my life.
You were pretty fortunate to have your mom be so influential on your life in that manner. I'm almost scared to say, do more people have that or less people? I think probably you were one of the lucky ones that had a mom like that. So if people are sitting out there kind of watching right now, I mean, like, that's great. My mom didn't do that. Like, my mom didn't instill those values in me. I think what I'm hearing, and I'll let you say it for yourself, but like, everybody has the ability to kind of have this self-talk within themselves. And you don't have to have somebody in your ear telling you that. It's just already there, and it's already available to everybody, isn't it?
Well, I mean, for me, I was very fortunate because it wasn't self-talk. It was the people around me. And I was very fortunate to be able to have that. I had a dad who was telling me every day I was the greatest. Where we didn't have money, we had love. And, what we've built our business on, and what I built my business on over the years is literally, Jason, is I build people and then allow the people to build the business. And when you look at LabCoatAgents, it's not about you building LabCoatAgents. It's about you building the people and the individuals in it. Because some person said to me, oh, Kelly, you need to find your niche. You need to find your thing. And I found my thing. It's called people. And any organization with people, give me access to your people and I'll help to grow them, and then they'll grow the business. Because when they feel like, when you help someone to understand that they're awesome, understand that they're beautiful, and they can do anything that they put their mind to, it gives them wings. And then they start figuring things out, as opposed to being told, you need to do this. We need these, we need this percentage to be done. No, allow them to go and realize that, all the procedures in a company are nothing more than a list of your screw ups anyway. So screw up today, have fun, because you're awesome, you're beautiful, and you can do anything. And you'll find that people will surprise you and take your company to a completely different other realm.
Well, I'm excited to share one of my favorite quotes with you guys. It's trust but verify by Ronald Reagan. So I want to verify that you're a people person. It's everybody wants to be a people person these days. It's a buzzword, right? Like, do it for the people. Like, cool, but let's verify that. Can you tell everybody watching the story about your employee who actually ultimately ended up purchasing your company?
Well, we set out to build leaders, right? And this is a scary thing for a lot of founders, because they don't want to build leaders, because then the leaders get bigger than them. For me, I always wanted people to I wanted my success to be the starting line for everyone else in my organization. And this girl, her name is Jen Moses, and she started with us at minimum wage. Within 3 years, she went to 6 figures. And she was able to do that and drop down to a 4-day work week. So now she was working anywhere from 32 to 35 hours. She's making over 100 grand a year in the professional beauty industry, which is completely unheard of. She did that. She became the highest earner, and she kept that title for 9 years, 9.5 years. After that time, another girl who took a 50% pay cut to come and work with our company 4 years ago, those two teamed up and bought the company. And we were so excited for this because we build leaders. And I think that if we continue to do that, for me, it wasn't about like, oh, I have to hold on to these people or anything like that. I want people to grow. And if they grow and they get huge, that's awesome, because I'm still their friend. because I believe in business there. I mean, those 3 foundations that I gave you, Sandra, those 3 foundations gave me the foundation for business, which is very simple. Number 1, be kind, contribute to everyone. Number 2, make a lot of friends. And number 3, work really hard. If you do those 3 things, there's no business on earth that will not succeed.
I think
That's so
true.
simple.
Yeah, that's so simple.
So go ahead, Sandra. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
No, it's definitely your turn. I got to slow down.
No, I was gonna ask those 2 ladies that bought your company. You trained them to have that same mindset as yours, Kelly?
Well, what I wanted to do is what's that? Go ahead.
Yeah, was it already instilled with them the same mindset that you have from the beginning?
Well, I mean, I think that they came from completely different backgrounds than me and from each other too. But what we did is, over the course of time, within the company, we wanted to every week, what we would do is we did, we called them inspirations or celebrations. And they had to be specific and they had to be by name. So like, say, for instance, this would be one, Sandra, I want to thank you for your time on the phone the other day when you and I talked. And the way that you talked to me was so incredible. And I want to thank you for that because not everyone does that. That's a real compliment. And you know how you're reacting right now. You know how you feel. These kids would hear that every single week. And we were constantly looking for what was right. And we were constantly celebrating what was right. And when that happens, then you build a culture around finding the right things. And I find that when I'm going, whether it be Jason or Sandra, when I go into organizations and they tell me all the challenges, 99.99999% of the challenges in any organization is cultural. It has to do with the culture of the place. And when people are like, oh, we're lacking culture. No, you're not. You're in line with the culture, but you weren't intentional on it. And so we help people to be intentional on just constructing exactly what you want. If you want apples, then plant apple seeds, but don't get mad if you plant apple seeds and you get orange. Like if you got oranges, because you planted orange seeds, whatever seed you plant, you'll get. But that's where we want to break it down to the lowest common denominator and help organizations to look at their culture. That's the first indicator in the book is, that we look at the culture of it. And then we look at the vibe. We look at the process and procedure, the productivity, the innovation, and the ability to adapt immediately. And outside of those 6 indicators, there is nothing that you can't solve.
Can I share a quick story with you? Because a lot of agents are in the community on the real estate front. Mm-hmm. I've built many teams, real estate teams over my career. It's almost 20 years in now. And boy, I got to tell you, it so resonates with me, Kelly. Once it went off, the light bulb went off in my head that all I needed to do was build people. That's when it went just like this. And I spend probably 80% of my time now just building people. And the cool part about it, and you'll validate it, I'm sure, the cool part about it is it's no longer work. I'm just having more fun 20 years in than ever in the real estate business because I view it as I'm building people. And to me, that's fulfilling and that's exciting. So I think if you're in the business and you're thinking about it, there is a path here in the way that Kelly's talking about it. And it's super fun to be in a space where things are good and we're playing in that passion pool.
Yeah, and it's so amazing. It's so amazing that because what I see Kelly has done here, it's not really because I think there are some companies who are really into the process, the system, reaching goals and all that they forget. You build the people first because it's the people who will make all those stuff that you have in your company. So they're and from where I am, we're in the culture of no, it's the business. It's all about the business. It's never about the people. The people are seen like numbers. You have to meet quotas. You have to meet deadlines, stuff like that. So I think if you focus actually more on the people, like what Kelly did, what you, Jason, did, it soar more than you expect. Am I right?
Well, Sandra, what I would say to you too is like, I want you to realize that we had ironclad systems in our company too. And those ironclad systems were nothing more than a list of the screw ups. And so what it did is it gave people wings to screw up all the time, as long as you write it down and you make it better. And then when the next kid came along and they came in and we were helping them, setting them up in the company, then they were being told about the rules and regulations, but they were being told all these rules were when we screwed up. So today, don't think of them, rules without relationship will cause rebellion. And this is what happens in so many organizations, is just people don't understand why they're doing it. The systems are phenomenal and we want to build them for high performance, but we build them based off of all the things that we screwed up on, because we don't want to do that again. And then it gives people freedom to innovate. Like, think of that. Think if you came up with an idea today and it was amazing and you wrote it down and then everyone used it. And then think about the one that you did that absolutely sucked, which is going to happen. And then you wrote it down and said, don't do that. That's a place where people want to be and they're engaged. And when they're engaged, they can go after what they want. And then, the second indicator is vibe. And vibe is not always happy. It's not always, you got to look at it. Some people want efficiency. Some people want to feel good. Some people want productivity and profit. Those are all okay as long as we set out to do them and we can construct them as we go.
Who are some of the favorite organizations you've worked with over the years, Kelly, that you're like, they've got it? And maybe some folks, if you're allowed to share, I don't know. I call Geico, like, for insurance, and I'm always impressed with who's ever on the phone. I'm like, you guys are amazing. I go to Starbucks and the person's like saying my name and friendly with a smile. Like, there's these organizations. Who are some of your favorites that we should be watching?
I would say Millax is one of them. It's a casino up in Minnesota, and these guys have servant leadership down. I mean, they are serving their people. They're looking at it. I mean, you're spending time with the CEO. The CEO is hanging out with everybody and making sure that everyone's good. I mean, they are such a great organization. The Servant Leadership Institute conference that I spoke at had some Geico people there, and I saw the C-suite people, and they were connecting. They were taking time to, really to educate themselves on a kind of different way of thinking, which I thought was awesome.
Can we talk a little bit about servant leadership? I hear it, like, define it a little better for me.
Well, it's just turning the triangle upside down. We've lived in a power structure for years and years and years, right? We have the power structure and everyone says what's the organizational chart? And it goes the founder and CEO, and then it goes down from there. What we did with servant leadership is just flipped it upside down. Put the CEO and the owner on the bottom, and they serve everyone. So the higher you go in the organization, the more people you serve, and the more opportunity you have to serve. I believe this will be the future. I believe that there will be a time where people will look to an organization, and if it's not a servant-led organization, then a person will say, I don't want to be in a regular power structure. Most people who have challenges against this just think that it's a kumbaya, I want to hug, and it's not going to drop to the bottom line. But we have proof otherwise. We have proof that a culture that is deliberate, that has picked their vibe, that is in line with their process and procedure, that understands their productivity, understands that innovation is the key to all business, and the ability to adapt immediately will take you to these heights. They see it drop exactly to the bottom line, but that will happen when the CEO and the founder realize that the only reason why they get to do what they do in their organization, their company, is because they have people there that are doing that work, and we should be serving them and making sure that they have the best situation possible.
I need to know a lot more about that. It's
I love it.
Conceptually, it resonates right away. Like, I love it. I believe in it. Logistically, I'll just share with you, trying to figure out how to piece that together, right? Like, boy, how can you serve at scale?
Well, let me give you one thing, right? I'll give you an actionable item, and I want to give this to every single person out there. Every single person out there is at least either working on a team or you're running a team, right? And what I would suggest is it'll take you about 5 minutes. And what I would do is I would take the people that directly report to you. Okay. So do that. And what I want you to do is every single week, I want you to sit down for 5 minutes, and I want you to write out an email, but it has to be specific. And I want you to name out all those people and something that they did absolutely absolutely phenomenal, but it has to be specific. It can't be general. Oh, you're an awesome person. That doesn't mean anything to me, right? When Sandra, when you get on and say what you didn't, your eyes are amazing, or your beard looks great today, or I love that necklace. You didn't even comment on my necklace, Sandra, and I can't believe that you didn't. But if you did, it would be specific, and it has to be specific. Write that email out and send it out, but don't send it out through just regular email. Send it to them, but then place it on Facebook and tag every one of them. So everyone in the world sees how much you're celebrating those people. That will change your organization. It will change everything, because then people are seeing that, wow, they see me. But pick out things, not just about numbers. Pick out like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I saw the way that you got off the phone with your wife and you said that you loved her. I want you to know that your integrity means something to me and my company. Thank you so much for doing that. It's a great example. And then do it on social, do it on LinkedIn, do it on TikTok, do it on all the mediums, and then send them a note also. And if you do that, I tell you, things will change immediately, because then people will start to be like, well, I want to do something. So he'll say it again, because everybody wants recognition. And if we could give them recognition, but it's got to be true recognition. It can't be this fluffy, right. Oh, Jason, you're so nice to everyone all the time, and you make me feel, it doesn't mean anything at all. Blah, 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 blah.
Right. And I love how you have the accountability piece baked in there in a very, it's actually a high level of accountability, the way that you're describing it. Like, go ahead, you're free to mess up, and you're going to talk about their mess ups, and they're not going to do it again. And that's accountability at a high level. You're not avoiding accountability. You're just approaching it in a different way that doesn't make folks automatically feel bad about it.
Well, and Jason, what I would say too is within the organization is, I invite, and I did this all the time. Like, when you screw up as a leader, just call it out. Like, call it out, say it in front of everyone, and say, guys, I screwed up and I want to apologize to you. And when you take, like my dad taught me this, he went into a meeting and he said, hey guys, we had a huge challenge and I know who did it. And everyone freaked out. And he was like, I did, because I didn't communicate at a high enough level for us to understand and know. So I'm taking this. And then everyone came to him afterwards like, no, I did it. We can make this better, Tom. That's what it's about. Leaders taking accountability. Once that happens, I mean, it's like, that's when you take the brakes off the organization.
Mhm.
Oh man, I absolutely love it. Go ahead, Sandra, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's why Kelly says that, you invert the triangle. And I think that's where it starts, that you as CEO, you take the accountability, because when people who follows you, who believes in you, would really solidify that, because they can see that you're human, for one, especially if you admit a mistake, you admit your mistake, they see that they're human, and that gives them like the confidence that if our CEO makes a mistake and is accountable and really say it out loud in front of us, then that means that, we can make a mistake too and make it even better, and like basically follow your leader. And that kind of, I think that will set the tone, that will set your culture for really greater goods.
For sure. So Kelly, where do people connect with you? I need to listen to the podcast. You've inspired me. So tell me about the podcast a little bit. Who are some of the guests you have on, and the basics?
Well, we have some of the greatest thought leaders in the world, from every organization. So the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, I'm a huge Oilers fan and Titans fan now. So he was on. Stephen M.R. Covey, David Meltzer, Lee Steinberg is just about to be on. Correspondents from Fox and ESPN. We got Greg Reed, a 28-time New York Times bestseller selling author. You've got all the greatest thought leaders, but what I did is I wrapped it around the attitude determines altitude. And what I wanted to do is take all the most iconic people in the world, and I wanted to humanize them simply for my kids, Jason. And every single person on the podcast gives advice to my kids by name at the end. So my kids are going to have this legacy of all these thought leaders all over the world, and help them to realize that the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, there's only 32 of those jobs available in the world. 32, only 32. And he's got one of them. And he's, in his early 40s. This guy is a juggernaut at what he does, but he gives advice to my kids and helps them to know that it's possible. And it goes back to the foundational truths, right? It goes back to you're awesome. You're awesome at whatever you do. You're beautiful, and you can do anything that you put your mind to, but just because you could do it does not make it your purpose. So stay in line with your purpose, and then you'll understand that, like my dad said, you're the greatest. And then he said, ... So act accordingly. And if every single person out there that's listening right now would act according to their greatness, we would have different organizations, different communities, and a different world.
Man, attitude determines altitude. I love it. I absolutely love it. And are your kids absorbing this? How old are your children?
My kids are 12 and 10, so they're not. I mean, they know daddy has a podcast, and I get so excited. We got ranked in the top 1.5% globally the other day. On Forbes named us as one of the most sought after interviews in the game today. But my kids don't care. They're like, can you get me some ice cream? You know what I'm saying? They don't care that happens. But for me, it's just about, not only leaving a legacy, but living in the moment and them experiencing their dad the way that I want them to, as they grow up.
Man, you get me so excited. I have an idea for you. We'll talk about your book in a second, but this book right here is my living legacy for my 3 kids. And we're in the same cycle of life. I've got twins that are 14 and a soon to be 10-year-old. And this book it's all about them and our journey together. So your next book, man, write one for the family, and they'll take it in. My kids grabbed it, read the chapters. Each one of them has their own chapter in the book. So I love what you're doing with that. And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit for our viewers, because I think you're probably pretty good in life at doing this. You're definitely good at making friends. You got a great energy, but I also think one of the key ingredients for success is asking questions. Wouldn't you agree, Kelly? Absolutely.
100%.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you a question right now. Would you like to be on my podcast? I would love to have you as a guest, my friend. And is that a yes? Just for the audience,
yes,
we're going to have you on as a guest, and you'll appreciate it as well. The name of our podcast is People, Passion, Power. So I definitely sync up with what you're putting out to the world, man. How can we help you? I feel like you've given us so many nuggets here. I'm taking crazy notes from you, man. I can't wait to connect with you again. How can we help you? What can we do for you, brother?
I think you're already doing it. I mean, my purpose, what God told me years and years ago, he gave me Romans 9:17 that said that he would put Pharaoh in this place, that when Pharaoh spoke, then people would listen. And when they listened, they'd hear God's voice and not Pharaoh's. And what he told me is he was going to put me in a place that when I spoke, then people had to listen. And when they listened, they'd hear his voice. And if I ever got to the point where I thought it was my voice that they were hearing, then he would take it all away. And so for me, the opportunity to be able to speak life into every single one of you out there, whether you're on Facebook or you're on Zoom or you're watching a recording or you're watching it live, that's what my purpose has been. And having the opportunity, like Sly and the Family Stone said, I want to thank you for letting me be myself again and again and again. And I got goosebumps while I say it, because I am so thankful and so grateful to be able to do what I'm doing right now, and any opportunity like that. Honestly, it wakes me up in the morning.
Oh man, that's awesome. So here it is. You're awesome. You're beautiful. You can do anything. I am ready to go. I think I'm ready to go run a marathon. You're one of the most inspirational speakers I've heard in a very, very long time. So thank you, my friend. Sandra, any other questions? Because I'll just sit here for the next 3 hours and pick his brain if you don't jump in.
Thanks, Jason. No, I think this is just what I'm going to ask Kelly, because you mentioned purpose, and for our community, which is full of realtors, I'm not sure if everyone actually knows their purpose. I mean, majority of us know, okay, we're realtors, but does that mean that that's already our purpose, that we are realtors?
Well, what I would say is, and this question comes up a lot, because when I speak about purpose, people are like, it's such a big word. Don't think of it as a big word. Let's break it down to the lowest common denominator, right? And the lowest common denominator is this: take some time and identify your gifts. The things that you're good at, right? The things that you're innately good at. And for me, what I'm innately good at, that I could do better than anybody in the whole entire world, because they can't compete with me because it's my thing, is I can see greatness in people. I get excited about what other people are passionate about. I get excited about helping people to realize how great they are, right? Now, I think I have 3 talents. That's the first one. The other 2 I haven't figured out, but I'm sure that I have 3 is somewhere around there. So identify your gifts, and then guess what? Go give them away to every single person in the whole entire world. And when you do that, you'll find your purpose. You'll be sitting inside your purpose. And most people think it's like this big, huge thing. No, identify your gifts. What if it's that you smile a lot? Then smile to people, because I had a situation. Can I tell this story real quick, Sandra? It'll be a quick one.
Go ahead, please.
I was at the Mandalay Bay. This lady comes in, and people always say, like, erase negative people from your life. That's how you'll be successful. I don't believe that at all. I believe that you can be the light in someone's life. And this woman came in, she sat down and she got her hair done. And, she said to me what a lot of people do at the time, it was very early on in my career. And she said, you changed my life. You saved my life. And I said, oh, okay, cool. I high-fived her. And then she looked at me and she's like, no, you saved my life. And then I was like, okay, cool. And it kind of got weird. And then she looked at me in my eyes, pulled me close, grabbed my shoulders and said, you saved my life. And I said, now I want to know. So what's up, lady? And she said, 2 weeks ago, my father committed suicide. A week ago, my brother, because my dad had committed suicide, didn't think he had any reason to live. So he killed himself too. And today I only came in to get my hair done to look beautiful, because I was going to kill myself when I left this place today. But the way that I felt, not my hair, but the way that you guys made me feel, I have decided against taking my life. And I know that there's a reason why I'm still on this earth. I want every person out there to know that you can be the light in someone's life, and it could just be a smile. It could just be a compliment. It could just be something. But for me, I'm really excited about not being that great at stuff. Like, I haven't been that great. And you know what it is? It's a 1-word thing that my mom taught me, and she didn't curse, but she said the 1 word, and it was like this: shit. Like, the world shut down. Shit. Like, let's start a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, whatever happens, my business gets broken into, I lose money, I lose millions of dollars. Shit, maybe I wasn't supposed to have it. If we can do that, we can give light to people, because there's so many people, and there's people out on the call right now that are hanging on by your fingernails. Maybe it's just one of them, and you're in a dark place. And I want you to realize that there's a little bit of light for you. There's light, and you're special, you're amazing, and you are built unique, and you have a purpose. And that purpose is to sometimes shine light on somebody else, because somebody's going to be shining light for you at some point when you need it.
Man, I love it.
That's remarkable, Kelly.
Part of it too, right, Kelly? And I don't want to take us down the path here, but part of it too is just being aware. Self-awareness is a big component of everything that you're talking about. Like, being aware that you have that potential to draw from at any given time. You don't have to have all this stuff figured out, but it sure is helpful to be thinking about it a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think being mindful of the fact that you can contribute to somebody. It goes back to the little drummer boy. The little drummer boy felt bad because all he had was a song. But there's a lot of people out there that just have a song. You maybe don't have a ton of money, or you don't have a ton of time, but you could smile at somebody and you could change somebody's day. And when that happens, you give them wings. My parents, I was very fortunate because my parents gave me wings. And when they gave me wings, it was, you're awesome, you're beautiful, you could do anything, you're the greatest, son, so act accordingly. And then the wings started to fly, and then I tried something and it didn't work out. And you know what I did? I wrote it down, and then I didn't do it again. And I tell you, like, probably one of the best things in the world is for you to step in dookie. Like, all of us step in dookie, right? And when we step in dookie, we react in a bad way. But imagine that dookie is the fertilizer for the seeds that were planted years and years ago. And if there's no dookie, there's no growth, right? And so allow yourself to get excited about dog dookie. When next time you step in dog doo-doo, then get really excited, because it's fertilizing some seeds that are there.
I'm not there with you. I pushed a lawnmower through my dog's dookie the other day, and I did not get excited about it. So I'll work on that between now and when we're on the show. But man, I appreciate you, man. It's been super nice to meet you. And boy, I look forward to staying in touch with you for sure. And Sandra, if there's anything else you want to close us out, or?
Yeah, I think we're just checking if we have any questions here for Kelly.
Check in the chat real quick.
Well, yeah. I want to tell you both, Sandra, Jason, and Jake, I'm going to force you to be my friends for the rest of your life, so you don't have any choice. So I just wanted to let you guys know, and anybody out there listening too. I mean, honestly, like, there's 3 principles, right? With 3 principles, that's just contribute to everyone, be kind, be super kind, make friends, and then work really, really hard at being kind, which will make friends. And then you'll work really hard at that again.
Yes, and I think
Oh, man.
every one of us will have, every one of us who is here in Zoom and who's watching us on Facebook, who will watch this later, the recording, every one of us will also have to start doing what you mentioned earlier about being specific. And when we say thank you, what we have to be specific, because I think that simple gesture will make a whole lot of difference, because you making someone feel that I am recognized. They are recognized, and they're specifically recognized, not just like, oh, you're awesome, but okay, yeah, what am I awesome about? Right. So I think we should start doing that. I'm going to start doing that later.
Sandra, you already do that. Give yourself a little credit. You're really good at already doing that. So don't overlook your own skill set, my friend.
Thank you. And I also wanted to just quickly mention that I think what I'm thankful of, and I think this is because Kelly, your leadership style is really like almost the same with Tristan, and he's my boss, and it's like that. He allow you to really grow, and that's what I love about him. He's not a micromanager. Ever since when I started with him, by the way, as an ISA, before I even became this what I am now, I was just an ISA, and just he allowed you to do your shit, right? He just allowed you to do your shit. And that made me kept on growing, because when you allow that, people became creative. And that's what I've noticed. People start becoming creative, and they want to produce even more, want to even be better than what they already are yesterday. So good job, Kelly. Love that leadership style, and I think every one of us will have to be that way.
Well, and for every one of you out there, help me with this. And you asked me what you could do. I never have an ask, but the one ask that I do is check out the podcast. And when I say that, the reason why is because my son and I have made deals on V-Bucks when we get to certain downloads. We want to get to 1 million downloads, and my son gets prizes when they hit those places.
Wow.
And I believe with all of you out there listening, if you just hopped on, you listened to a couple episodes, I mean, I'm telling you, we're going to get to 1 million soon. And my son, Maddox, who's 10, is going to get a lot of V-Bucks for that. So
Woo, woo, woo. Jason and I will, Kelly Cardenas is the podcast, right?
Yeah, Kelly Cardenas. Yep. Attitude determines altitude. Yep.
Attitude determines altitude.
Well, it's the Kelly Cardenas podcast. Yeah. If they actually, when they look at this little QR code, they could just scan that goes right to it. And then this one over here goes to the book.
Oh, look at you, man. You are, that is smooth. I was appreciating the scroll of the webpage on the bottom, and I got lost in what I was like, that's some artwork. Oh no, that's the book. And that's very smooth.
Awesome.
Taking notes on that. So, well, Kelly, it was a treat, my friend, and look forward to staying in touch with you. LabCoatAgents, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did, and I'm sure Sandra did. Sandra, by the way, you got to join me on more of these. You've got some really good questions, and you're a lot of fun to be a part of this. So, Kelly, it was a treat. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. It's so awesome. We'll hope to have you. We'll hope to have you again. We'll have you on a podcast with Jason, right? So
yeah,
we'll do it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.